And then Ibrahim alayhi salam says, it is those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do not confuse their belief with zulm. For them only there is security and they are guided. Now what is zulm? In Arabic, zulm is to use anything out of context of the purpose for which it is to be used. For example, to put your feet on a table is zulm. Sometimes people have the more Americanized of amongst us. You lean back in a chair and you put your boots on the table. That's a sign of jahalat, it's a sign of ignorance, it's a sign of somebody who has no manners. It's a sign of zulm, because the table is not meant for your feet. To put your feet on the table is a sign of zulm. Now you might not do it, but if you take your cap and shine your shoes with it, this is zulm. Because something which is meant for the head, you're using it for your mind. If you try to justify it, you say, no, you see this cap, this cost me only 10 rupees. My shoes cost me 10,000 rupees. So the shoes are more expensive than the cap. So then wear the shoe on your head. Because that would be appropriate for that kind of mentality. So the biggest zulm, why did Allah say, inna shirka in Surah Al-Luqman, inna shirka la zulmun azim. Verily shirk is the biggest of zulm, it's the biggest of oppression, it is the biggest of all kinds of evil. Why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying shirk is the biggest of zulm? Because if you look at the kinds of zulm in the world, you can say there are so many kinds of zulm, beating somebody or slandering somebody or backbiting somebody or killing somebody or torturing somebody, or you can list it. I don't want to go further. So you can have all of these kinds of zulm that a person can do. But Allah is saying that over and above all of this, the worst of them is shirk. Now it doesn't mean these are okay, they are not okay, but the worst of them is shirk. Why is shirk such a big deal? Because shirk is the attempt of the human being to do zulm on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala jalla jalaluhu. Obviously the person cannot do it, but his attempt is there. And what is that attempt? What is the zulm that he is trying to do on Allah? That zulm is to join partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To say that Allah has a son, or to say that something which is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, something which is in creation, to say that this is God or this can help me and you worship it. This is the biggest zulm, because you are trying to do zulm on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why it is the inna shirka la zulmun azim. Inna, which is which reiterates, which is verily and truly, inna shirka, and then Allah used the lam again, la zulmun azim. Inna shirka la zulmun, surely, verily and truly, shirk and truly is a zulm. So it's a reaffirmation of and super emphasis on this great evil, which is shirk. So, and then Ibrahim alayhi salam said, that was our proof. Which means that this understanding and so on and so forth, Allah is saying, that was our proof which we gave Ibrahim against his people, and we raise whom we will in degrees, and certainly your Rabb is all-knowing and all-wise. So what must you do with regard to the issue of the sun and the moon and all of these things? And that also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, where he said, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ اللَّيْلُ وَالنَّهَارُ وَالشَّمْسُ وَالْقَمَرُ لَا تَسْجُدُوا لِلشَّمْسِ وَلَا لِلْقَمَرِ وَاسْجُدُوا لِلَّهِ الَّذِي خَلَقَهُنَّ إِن كُنتُمْ إِيَّاهُ تَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and from among his signs are the night and the day, and the sun and the moon. Do not make sajda to the sun nor to the moon, but make sajda to Allah who created them both, if you really worship Him. So this is also an ayat of sujood, it's an ayat of sajda. So before when you get up from here, remember to make sajda, because you heard this ayat, this is part of the adab of the Quran. So this is the issue of the worship. And Allah is saying, do not worship creatures, worship the Creator. In terms of dawah, dawah begins at home. So that is what Ibrahim alayhi salam also did. He began his dawah also at home, where he gave dawah to. Now Azar, as I mentioned to you, is somebody the ulama have said that Azar was probably the uncle of Ibrahim alayhi salam, not his father. Although he's mentioned as father, but father in the sense that somebody who is in the Arab culture, the uncle is also called father because it's that closeness is there. So that's why he's father. But they say that his father died before he was born, and Azar was actually his uncle. But irrespective of that, Azar was the man who brought him up. So he was from the house of Azar, and he lived with him, and he brought him up. So this is that part of the story where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now talking about what Ibrahim alayhi salam did there. Now he's talking to his father. Now see also the tone of Ibrahim alayhi salam, the way he is talking to his father. This is also part of understanding of the adab of dawah. So of dawah we learnt, what did we learn till now? That we should be concerned about the whole issue of dawah. We should be concerned about our own spiritual welfare and the spiritual welfare of other people. That we should give this dawah, and that this dawah, the way it should be given is not attack what somebody else is worshipping, but ask intelligent questions, encourage them to think so that they reflect and they come to conclusions. Second point of dawah. Now third, see the approach of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam was a very soft and kind-hearted man. As I mentioned in the last lecture, we talked about and we saw the ayat relating to the personality of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So Ibrahim alayhi salam is saying here, my father, ya abati, my father, ya abati inni qad ja'ani min al-ilmi ma lam yatika fattabi'ni ahdika siratan sabiya. Ya abati la ta'budi ash-shaytan inna ash-shaytana kana lir-rahmani 'asiya. Now, ta'abudi shaitan, he's saying, do not worship shaitan. Now, Azar did not say he's worshipping shaitan. But the worship of anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the worship of shaitan. Because worship, ibadah, is considered to be also ita'at, to obey. To obey is also to worship. So when the obedience is counter to what Allah has ordered, this amounts to worshipping that who gave you that order. So therefore the ita'at of the worship of other than Allah is actually ita'at of shaitan, because shaitan is the one who is ordering that. Ya bati inni yakhafu an yamassaka adhabun min ar-rahmani fatakuna lish-shaytani waliya. Ibrahim alayhi salam is warning and explaining to his father the problem of what he is doing. قال أراغب أنت عن آلهتي يا إبراهيم لئن لم تنتهي لأرجمنك واهجرني مليا. So that is the reply of his father. So Ibrahim is saying, oh my father, verily there has come to me of knowledge that which did not come to you, so follow me and I will guide you to a straight path. Now this is also a lesson also for parents. Many times today we find children, they learn a lot. Many, especially children who go to Islamic schools and so on, they learn from their schools, and then they come back home and they find the parents are not doing what they should be doing, and the children try to advise them. There's advice here for both. First of all, children must talk to parents keeping the adab in mind. So talking to parents or trying to advise parents but doing it in this great righteous anger doesn't work. So you must do it with proper adab. But having said that, it's quite often the case in most places that people do not listen to their own children. They will listen to that from somebody else but not from their own children. And this is a bad thing, and this is what is happening here. Here is Azar's son explaining something to him, but he does not want to listen. So Ibrahim alayhi salam saying, "Oh my father, don't worship shaitan. Verily shaitan has been a rebel against Ar-Rahman, against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh my father, verily I fear lest a torment from Ar-Rahman overtakes you so that you become a companion of the shaitan in the hellfire." Right? Now he's the father. What did the father say? The father is saying, "Do you reject my gods, O Ibrahim? And if you do not stop this, then I will stone you and get away from me before I punish you." Now this is unfortunately the situation of most places, most people, where when somebody is invited towards the truth, this is their reaction. But see what Ibrahim alayhi salam says. قال سلام عليك سأستغفر لك ربي إنه كان بي حفيا وأعتزلكم وما تدعون من دون الله وأدعو ربي عسى ألا أكون بدعاء ربي شقيا فلما اعتزلهم وما يعبدون من دون الله وهبنا له إسحاق ويعقوب وكلا جعلنا نبيا ووهبنا لهم من رحمتنا وجعلنا لهم لسان صدق عليا. So Ibrahim alayhi salam is explaining the things to his father, and Ibrahim alayhi salam saying, when he said, "I will stone you," and so on and so forth, Ibrahim alayhi salam is not retaliating in kind. He is not cursing his father or he is not saying something bad to him. He says, "Salaam alaikum." Allah told us, وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. When people who have no knowledge, when they try to abuse you or say something to you, just say salam and move away. So Ibrahim alayhi salam said, "Salam, I will ask forgiveness of my Rabb for you. Verily He is unto me ever most gracious." He said, "I'll make dua for my forgiveness and my Rabb accepts my dua." So this is his confidence with his Rabb Jalla Jalaluhu. "And I will turn away from you and from those who you invoke besides Allah, and I shall call on my Rabb, and I hope that I shall not be unblessed in my dua to my Rabb." Means I'll call on Allah and I hope that Allah will not ignore me. Of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not ignore His Anbiya and does not ignore those who believe in Him and call on Him with sincerity. So when He had turned away from them and from those whom they worshipped beside Allah, we gave Him Ishaq and Yaqub, and each one of them we made a prophet. And we gave them of our mercy with great provision, dunya wal akhirah, and we granted them honor on the tongues of all nations. Till today, and until Allah keeps this world, people will always take the name of Ibrahim and Ishaq and Yaqub and all the Anbiya with honor, and people across the world, Muslims as well as non-Muslims. And then Allah said, mention in the Quran, Musa, verily he was chosen as a messenger and as a prophet. So then let's take a break for Maghrib, and then we'll come back after Maghrib for the rest of the lesson. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.